Hello, Miranda. How are you? Hi, Jenna. Hi, Jules. Hi, Heidi. How is everybody doing? Hi, Michelle. Hi, Miranda. Hi. Good bumpy week. Yes, bumpy week. We're going to start out with an interesting topic tonight, which I feel like we have to cover, like this week. I could do spirit writings. I don't have my other camera set up yet. I mean, it's not set up from earlier. Thank you for the subscription, Jenna. My camera looks good. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Okay, we're going to talk tonight because we had such a wanky week. It was actually a week for hell. No matter what your beliefs are, it was a week from hell. So this is what we're going to discuss right away. I really want to discuss this. I feel like it's important. We're going to talk about mind control. Why do you want to learn about mind control? Because do you know anybody who stays in an abusive relationship? How many know? Raise your hand. How many know people, or maybe it's you, who stay in either, number one, an abusive relationship? It doesn't mean physical. It could be verbally. You could be living with a narcissist or a gaslighter. You might have a friend you know that's stuck in an abusive relationship, and the people go from one abusive relationship to the next, right? So they are susceptible to mind control. Now, they don't teach mind control in school. They don't teach it anywhere. So very few people even realize that they've been manipulated, right? So I feel like today, to get our power back, we have to know that we can get out of mind control. All right, we can get out of it. You can get out of it. Now, how many people out there, how many of you think that you are in some way mind controlled? Type yes for yes, you think you might be. Even if you don't know what it is, type yes if you think you might be mind controlled somewhere. Type no if you feel like beyond a shadow of a doubt, you're definitely not mind controlled. So, yes or no, are you mind controlled or not? Okay, very interesting. Welcome, Feisty Butterfly. Welcome, Jay Karma. Welcome, Karen. All right. Now, you guys have posted out there, brave. Thank you for your bravery. Thank you for allowing yourself to put your truth out there, because that's a good thing. So, when you are mind controlled, now here are all of the ways you can be mind controlled. Advertisers, politicians, churches, like church leaders, ministers, or any clergy in the church, the news media, the politicians, the radio hosts, YouTube, even social media, even bloggers have the ability to mind control you. So what these people have in common is, number one, they want to do a lot of the thinking for you. So they'll make things easy for you. Because most of us tend to have busy lives and we're a little bit lazy, which is fine. And so they'll do the thinking for you. So they'll put like little short things, little short clips in and repeat it over and over and over again, and you just take it in because you're too tired, to question it. They isolate you mentally so they can find your weaknesses, right? They can find your weakness, and then they fill you up with information, whether it's true or not, and they sway you into a way of thinking that's no longer your own way of thinking. They might criticize you. Now, it could be like a group, And you'll think, oh my God, when you first get in this group, you'll be like, why are these people behaving this way? But then you're like, well, everybody in the group is behaving that way, so it must be the way to behave, and you become complicit. And even though your mind is like, this isn't right, you just stay. Now, this is also what happens in a relationship. You're like, oh shit, I'm in a relationship with someone abusing. Well, it's not that bad, or at least I know who they are, or it's only part of the year, or it's only blah, 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 right? There's an excuse. There's an excuse to stay with the abuser. So that's the social thing. And then underneath that is the fear of alienation. Like you don't want to be alienated. And so really dangerous cults, if you leave the cult or you're disloyal to the leader, oh no, you can't just peacefully leave. Now, what group that you belong to, could you just say, I don't want to belong to the group anymore, and you could just leave? Yeah. You could belong to any group and you just want to leave. It'd be like clicking unjoin on Facebook and you just leave. But what if they came after you, right? I had a sister and she was talking about this church that she found. And I didn't get good feelings about this. I was like, something doesn't sound right here. And then I saw her personality changing and I said, I'm going to church with you. I haven't been to church in years. And I used to be a Sunday school teacher, all right? I used to teach Sunday school for 5 years. So I went to the church, right? I went to the church, and right away I was being watched because I was somebody new in the church, and I'm looking around, and they are eyes on me, the key people. And during the church service, I was horrified. I was trying not to look horrified. I was like, trying to be neutral, but I was horrified. I didn't even get 2 steps out of the pew, and they were like, I was surrounded. Are you coming back next week? And I was like, oh my God. So I told my sister, you have to get out. And I said, they're going to hunt you down and they're going to make your life living hell. I said, but you need to stay strong and call the cops if you have to. She goes, oh, no, you don't understand this at all. They're nice people. They're not going to hunt me down. I said, okay, test. Go 2 Sundays and don't show up to church. She after the first Sunday, she got called by 6 people. 1 drove by her house. And stopped by, pounded on her door. Are you coming next week? And she got harassed. She didn't have to call the police, but she did have to threaten them that she would. And they finally let her go. But it was months of harassment. That is a dangerous cult. That was a dangerous cult. And my sister's intelligent. They can hit intelligent people. This isn't about your intelligence. This is about your emotional vulnerability. That's what this is about. So, hello everyone. You stayed because you felt you deserved to be punished. Thank you for putting that on you guys. If you can share your stories, as difficult and painful as this is, it's healing for everyone. Because I was married to an alcoholic for 17 years. Why did I stay? Right. There was something not right. Because healthy people don't stay in unhealthy situations. I was not healthy. I was not healthy. And I admit it. I stand up and say I was not healthy. And I own up to it. But I got help for myself. And it took a bit. It took quite a few years. You need to read about the whole censorship that happened against Trump. How many of you know that Trump was in an extremely abusive family growing up? How many of you know that? A lot of times, some of these serial killers will tell you that they wanted to murder people by the 3rd grade because that's how horrific their upbringing was. I'm going to shut my heater off. So, that's one of the things, is that you can be brought up in an abusive house, and you can grow up and lash out because of that. How many of you know Arnold Schwarzenegger? What were those movies Arnold Schwarzenegger was in? He released a video in the last couple days, or maybe today, and he actually for the first time revealed that his dad beat him. He was born in 1948, 2 years after World War II ended. His dad had to shoot people, and so did his neighbors. And all of his neighbor kids, they could listen to each other getting beat by their parents. He was beat and pounded and abused, and he grew up to be this compassionate man. But look at the he got to act out his violence by the movies he was in. I mean, that guy had rage in him, but his outlet was through his acting, not, physically mean to people. So fear of alienation, and then repetition. This can be repetition of little condescending remarks that you don't pay attention to them. And they affect your self-esteem. They chink away at you. Little by little. Yet his father was horrible. His dad was mean. Yeah, I agree with you. Something went wrong. There's definitely something wrong with Arnold, yes. He could have had a child with a housekeeper. Absolutely. So the other thing that allows you to be mind controlled is fatigue. How many people nowadays are tired? And when you're fatigued, your mind is more susceptible to being swayed. And then the other thing is the mind control forms a new identity for you, and you don't even realize you're mind controlled. You think, I'm not mind controlled. That didn't happen to me, because that it forms a new identity, and you associate with that identity so well that you don't even know you're not thinking your own thoughts, right? So, what I want you to ask a question right now. Be really brutally honest. Are there any groups or people right now who are manipulating you? So, one of the ways to identify if you're being manipulated is to look at the behavior of someone. Is the behavior of someone of a high level of integrity or not? Does that person lie? Does that person have a temper once in a while? Does that person want you to believe like them? And if you don't believe like them, then you're wrong. If you don't believe what I believe, you're fucking wrong. Wait a minute. People can have all kinds of different beliefs. That doesn't make one right and one wrong. But the difference in a mind manipulator is you will believe how they believe, or you're a traitor. So when a cult forms, a dangerous cult, and you get sucked into it. Now, this can be churches too, my God. And it can be anything. You could go to an Al-Anon meeting that could have somebody cultish in that. I mean, it can be anywhere. You can have a narcissist that gets into therapy. I mean, there's narcissists everywhere, and they're masters at mind control, all right? So they want you to be loyal. They want you to be loyal to them. And if you don't, something's wrong with you, not them. And they also like to focus on their own self, like they're grandiose. Everything's about them. Me. And you don't really count. So think about it. Do you belong to any groups right now? Or do you have any beliefs that are manipulating? In other words, if you walked away from all the beliefs that you were really attached to, what would happen to you? Who would you be? Who would you be without a major belief? What is a major belief in your life right now? And does that belief make sense? Does that belief make sense? Does that group have a hate agenda toward another group, or not? When I grew up, we had a Catholic church on one end of town and a Protestant church on the other. And this is when I was, when was this? In the 70s? And believe it or not, can you believe this? The Catholic Church would not let the Catholics marry outside the Catholic Church. Cult. In other words, if you weren't Catholic, you were going to hell. So can you imagine how many people stayed Catholic and how many people needed therapy to get out of that cult? Now, not all Catholic churches are culty. It depends on the environment that each particular church, has, but it could be potential for dangerous, very dangerous, depending on what they do and how they manipulate you. You walked away from the church, no worries. And you should be able to walk away from a church without judgment. So if you walk away from something and you're judged by the people who you walk away, that's a fucking cult. That is a fucking cult. Like Mitt Romney, when some woman approached him at the airport and said, "You're a traitor." And he's like, "Hey, I agreed with a lot of things that Trump did. That toward the end, I didn't agree with him." And they go, "Traitor, traitor," because you had to agree with everything. You couldn't disagree with him. And Mitt Romney was like, what is going on with this? Since when can you not disagree with someone? You should be able to disagree with any leader that you want and be fine. You might like some of what they do, but not all of what they do. And nobody should come up and call you a traitor because you don't agree with everything they say. Do you see how dangerous that is? Do you want that in our world? Well, Kim Un-yoon, his people, he executed his uncle. And I just joined a YouTube channel and I have to take a break. I bawl my eyes out when I listen to it. This young woman escaped under Kim Un-yoon's in North Korea under his reign. And they'll come into a Korean family and pick out the girls and they're raped by the soldiers and they're made into sex slaves and you don't have a choice. And the women do the work. They have to make the money. And there's no food. You just go listen to North Korean women talk about what it's like to live in that country. And you're going to find out how fucking scary that is. I mean, it's horrible. And you think, well, why? There's so many millions of people there. Can't they just overthrow him? They can't because they've been mind controlled and it's fear-based. But you can escape. You don't have to be mind controlled. You can like part of what someone believes and not the other and not be judged. You can leave a political party and become an independent and you should not be judged. You can do anything. That's why we have a free country, but we don't because we've been mind controlled. And believe it or not, they have studied mind control here since the 50s and the 60s. So it's in commercials, it's in the military, it's in schools, it's everywhere. So let's get free. Let's get free from mind control. How do you start? You participated in a religious group. They had everyone under control. Oh my God, am I ever glad that you got therapy, Renata. My dad's mom barely got permission to marry his dad because his dad was so dark. The Creole family members created colorism. Wasn't that Mike Pence? Yeah, Mike Pence had a horrible, same thing with Mike Pence. Yes. So the leaders of the group want control of your thinking. They want to solve your problems. We're going to get free. We're going to get free of mind control. All right. So number one, do you have any beliefs that if you walked away from a group or whatever, you would not be judged? So that's question number one. If you walked away from whatever group you belong to, and I don't care what it is, would you be judged by the leader and by the groups in there? If yes, you're mind manipulated, okay? It's okay. You haven't done anything wrong. We all probably have mind manipulation to some degree. So this is not a political night. I just want us to get out of mind control because it will help you get out of abusive relationships. It will help you get out of toxic friendships. It will help you recognize that maybe your parents were narcissists, but you don't have to be. I mean, this can totally change the quality of your life if you get out of mind control. So find the opposing message, all right? Here's step one. Let's say that you're told to believe that, some lie, which is why I walked away from conspiracy theories. So let's just take some weird conspiracy theory, all right? It can be the weirdest thing. But we're just going to call it a conspiracy theory, all right? So let's say that we have a conspiracy theory that the government is going to control you. That's a good one, isn't it? The government's going to control you. Let's just say that belief has been thrown at you. The government is going to control you. You won't have any freedom. And they feed it to you over and over again. And you're like, fuck. And then all of a sudden you start noticing, hey, the government did this and the government did that. You start to buy into this. You don't even need necessarily proof. You can just, all of a sudden, something will be done that could be totally normal. You go, oh, see? They're trying to control us. So what you do to free yourself is you put down the opposite of this. So you get, even if it's not mind control, this is technique 1 for getting out of it. So what's the opposite of the government is trying to control you? The government is not trying to control me, all right? Is not trying to control me, all right? Now, don't call me crazy yet, because you might, I have proof. All right, this is the technique that you're going to follow to get rid of or to be observant of mind control. You want the opposite of the belief. The government's going to control you. The government is not trying to control you, all right? That's the opposite. Now, sit with that opposite statement for a while. The government's trying to control me. The government's not trying to control me. And then get to the neutral space, all right? Get to the neutral space where you're in between, And then you're not attached to either one. Oh, maybe the government's trying to control me. I'll just kind of observe. Oh, I feel pretty free. I don't feel like the government's trying to control me. I think it's okay. Get to the neutral, to where both of those things don't trigger you. You want 0 triggers from that belief, right? This is going to get you away from dangerous conspiracy theories, all right? And you know me, it's fun. I love chasing after mysteries. I chase after mysteries with neutrality. Very important to chase after mysteries with neutrality. You don't want conspiracy theories getting in your way, because then that puts a filter a lens, a filter over your belief. Freedom is everything. Freedom of your mind is even the most important freedom. So then I want you to go and actually look for different views. The government's trying to control you. The government's not trying to control you. What other beliefs are there? Can you guys post a few beliefs that maybe you think are true? Like this is true. It could be anything. Let's see if I have any. Let me think about what beliefs I might have that might not be true or not. All right. Aliens are invading our world. That's one of them, right? Aliens are invading our world. And so if I was going to go to the opposite, then I would say, well, I don't see any aliens. And I don't feel like an alien is here right now. So maybe not. Okay. And then get to the neutral. So if aliens come, you'll be like, oh, okay, aliens are here, but stay neutral. Don't be reactive. So here's another one. Somebody could tell you that you are a piece of shit, right? Someone could just tell you you're a piece of shit, right? That would be an abusive relationship. And maybe there would be a part of you that would start to believe that you're a piece of shit. The opposite of that is I am not a piece of shit. That's just that person's perception, right? I'm not a piece of shit. That could be equally as true. We are so bound sometimes to have negative beliefs about ourselves. Now, what's the best way to improve your relationship? Is to get into a healthy relationship. Now, let's say that you'd meet somebody and you notice that, they just have some dysfunction to them, but it's not mean and it's not bad. You actually, if you free your mind, if you free yourself from mind control, that could be the biggest gift you could offer any friend, any relationship you have, because it's going to make you healthy. You're not going to be attached to unhealthy way of thinking, which is what mind control does. It takes away your natural ability to think. So we are going to make some power statements here right now. And I'm actually going to use my tarot cards to help me. All right. I'm going to use the tarot cards to help me. For everybody listening tonight, we're going to get you free from mind control, because you're going to really enjoy your life. All right. It's going to make a huge difference in your life. I don't trust people in general. Yes, that's a great one, Jules. Thank you for putting that out there. What would be the opposite? I can trust people. And maybe you can trust people. Maybe you want to have that I can trust people here and I can't trust people over here, and get neutral, so that I'm going to trust people unless they really show me they can't be trusted, and then bang, I'll turn that switch on. But until that switch gets turned on, maybe you will be neutral. At least be neutral. Self-fulfilling prophecies. Exactly. Exactly. So, what I'm going to ask the tarot cards, what does everyone here need to have to start realizing that their thinking and their minds are their own? All right. First card is start new. This is the Page of Wands. We're going to start over. Start new. The page means, now pages are about ideas. So, and this is you. The page is a human being. Get a sunny outlook about yourself. So right now, type something really nice about yourself. Like maybe you just want to type, I like myself. I'm not a bad person. So everybody type something nice about themselves right now. The Trump situation of him being blocked with Twitter and why people went to the Capitol. We can ask the cards that. Sandra Hernandez. So we'll ask the tarot cards why you're comfortable being on your own. That's awesome. I like my arms. That's a good one. Let's see. I got to think of something. I love to laugh. I love to laugh. I'm allowed to say no to family obligations, and I'm getting good at it. Woohoo! Yes! You rock it on, feisty butterfly. I love to be as I am. Hey, these are all really great statements, and I want to thank you for putting them out there. So we're going to ask the tarot cards why did people go to the Capitol? Look at this. Because they loved. Oh, it was a choice. This is the card about a choice. Did they feel like they had a choice? They belong to a group. They belong to a powerful group. So it was a choice to go, and they belong to a powerful group. This is money. This is family. They had a choice to go. It was a powerful group. Others influenced them. It was a group. See all the people in there? Others influenced them. And they simply wanted happiness. But you're like, well, why did they destroy and kill people when they simply wanted happiness? Because that's ultimately what everybody wants, is happiness. That's ultimately, they want that group that he created. Those are just human beings that down at their core, if you stripped away their beliefs, they just are people with a lot of pain that want happiness. That's what they are. They want happiness. So why did Trump get banned from Twitter? Why did Trump get banned from Twitter? Why did he get banned from Twitter? That's the block card. Because they don't want people to see his messages. They don't want people to see, and his messages would be dark. Because there's dark in the clouds, and this is swords. Remember, swords are the air. It's the air. Oh, that card went flying out. Times are changing. This card flew out across my keyboard. Big changes coming, by the way, with the wheel. So that card means that they wanted to block his negative speaking. That's what the Two of Swords is. They wanted, so that's why. Family legacy, exactly. They were taught this from the beginning, yes. It's tricky, but women are starting to recognize their worth, and it causes change. Yes. Women are waking up, and there's more women now being appointed to government positions than ever before. And people of all nationalities. I mean, we're in for a big change. So if you guys can bring into 2021, get your minds free of toxic beliefs and beliefs that aren't your own, and get your mind back and your thinking back, you should be at some place of a neutrality. So when information comes in to you, and I have to practice this, trust me, I have my own triggers. I'm like the rest of you. I'm not perfect. I'm not here saying I'm perfect. I'm going to teach you. No, I have to learn right along with you. I am humble and saying, I've been down a shit road and I know what it feels like. And I had to crawl my way back out, and it wasn't pretty. So there's no way I'm perfect. After you started loving yourself, your life will change. Yes. Oh my God. Some employers can be abusive. I had a narcissistic boss and she was like, "You're a piece of shit. You don't know how to do your job." And she was verbally abusive to me for years. 6 years I tolerated that abuse. And then one day I stood up and I was like, I am done. And I walked to the HR department and I said, "I'm done with this abuse." And I handed them the list and notes that she had left me. And that person was fired within 2 hours. And I thought, why did I put up with 6 years of this? It's low self-esteem. I was in the alcoholic marriage at that time. Nice person, very nice person, dysfunctional relationship. Anytime you're in a dysfunctional relationship, it makes, my thoughts were not my own. They were not healthy thoughts. I had to turn myself around to healthy thoughts. So right now, we are going to think about things. Was the election fair? What, Mouth of the South? Was the election fair? Yeah, that's a really good question, because it went through how many courts? And this is courts that were judges that were appointed by Trump that said, according to everything we looked at and the counting, Republicans were watching the counting. And one of the court things I listened to, the judge said to the Republican, "Were you there watching the counting?" And he's like, "Well, a person was there." And he goes, "Well, who was it?" "Well, it was him, but he disidentified with himself." And he said, "It was a person watching." And the judge was, "Well, who's the person?" "Well, it was me, but it was a person." And he literally was separating himself and calling himself a person. And here he finally had to admit that he watched all the counting and he didn't see anything false, but he was confused because he didn't know why they were calling fake votes. Was there fraud, major fraud? Was there major fraud going on with the election? I'm showing you me shuffling and I don't know the card, so that you know that I'm not looking at the card. So here he's wearing a deer thing, meaning that we were told, here's what happens in the Magician card, all right? This means that manipulation, all right? So this is like someone wants you to believe that there was a cover-up, right? The deer horn. Doesn't that look like the guy that was with the horns in the Capitol? That's kind of weird that this came up. This can be the manipulator. It's light against dark. It's evil against good. So we're going to pull another card on the Magician because that's a major card. Was there actual voter fraud on a major level? Because, here and there. This is not fraud cards. There's a lot of fraud cards in the tarot deck, but these two are not it. But this can be that you've been manipulated, but not with the Star card. With the Star card, everything, see, she's naked. And when you're naked, it means everything's exposed. So when they recounted, they recounted more than once. So this is like everything was exposed. People were there watching the recounts. They did paper ballots with the machines and they matched. So there was a lot done to make sure it was fair. So if another card would have come and it would have validated like, hey, there was a cover-up, yes, then I would have said yes. But the Star card, and she's naked, and in the tarot, naked means exposed. And I'm talking major. It doesn't mean there wasn't some here and there, some in a little bitty town or something here and there. There could have been here and there, but in the bigger picture, there was not, according to the tarot, if you want to believe it. Yeah, the deer head from the guy from the Capitol. And you can't make that shit up. In fact, I'm starting to think about that guy with the deer head, because that is weird that I pulled the Magician with the guy with the deer head. Why? What do we have to know about him? Because he actually had a big presence in that, because he was so strangely dressed. What do we have to know about the guy that wore the horns? What do we have to know about the guy that wore the horns? It was so weird. Look at that. So he was just being smug, like, look at me, I'm being smug. Look, so yeah, that's what he was doing, is drawing attention to himself, which was interesting. That's very interesting. I thought that was interesting. I'm willing to bet the guy who wore the horns met Trump in person. That could be. He's been arrested. When you break the law, you will get arrested, especially if you're on camera. You know, breaking the law. Breaking into the Capitol is illegal. No matter who you are, it's illegal. So, how do you free your mind? The first thing is you recognize if you walked away from whatever group or belief system you have, would you be judged by anybody? Would people hate you? Would the group hate you? Would the group say you're a traitor? That's the first sign that you're in a mind-controlled group. So right now, if I was in a group, and it doesn't matter what group, and if I would walk away from it, and everybody be like, hey, you know, you can rejoin anytime in the future, you know, and there's no hate, that's probably a healthy group, as long as there's not any kind of thing going on in the group that makes me go, what is going on in this group? If you listen to the talk that's going on in the group, and if something isn't jiving, then you have to ask yourself why. And the way to do it is to look at the opposite of what your beliefs are. So start getting in the habit of whatever belief you have and look at the opposite. Even if your belief is healthy and it's right for you at that time, still look at the opposite so you can get to that neutrality. That's the first way to break yourself of mind control. Yes, they try to get you to say black is white and white is black and night is night and day is night, even though you might be like, no. And then after a while, that repetition, and you believe it. This can be with abusive relationships. You know, you need to stay with me. You wouldn't be able to make it on your own. They literally will do that to you. Or for some reason, you're so afraid that you cling to them because anxiety. You're so afraid that I can't be alone. Like maybe you have a fear of being alone, or maybe you have a belief that you can't make it on your own. There's all kinds of reasons why we get in mind-controlled situations. Step one is to recognize unhealthy situations that you're in. That's step one. Recognize anything unhealthy that you're in, unhealthy job, you have unhealthy parents, siblings, unhealthy friends. Start identifying the areas where you're unhealthy. And then start building your mental health so that it's stronger. We all have mental weaknesses, every one of us. You don't have to be ashamed of that. We all have psychological flaws, every one of us. Whatever, accept it, but you can build it stronger. You can become stronger no matter what weakness you have. You have the ability to be stronger. Someone posted a message on Parler that Trump would be handing out pardons to leave their name and their crime. Oh, interesting. Mine, I said, was coming back. I said, watch me. Oh, interesting. Good for you for not going back. That's a good one, Maureen. The constant chisel of should to shape you to their need. That's right. I had a fear of being alone. Yes. Or you could have a fear that, maybe you really needed that job. And so you put up with the narcissistic boss because you didn't think there was anything else for you. Remember, narcissist is everywhere. It's work, it's schools, it's friendships, it's relationships, it's parents, it's siblings, it's everywhere. So you don't have to be affected by it. You got to get centered. You've got to be centered. And you've got to start doing positive self-talk. And then if you need another job, do I need training? Can I learn something on the internet? Can I volunteer for somewhere for a couple hours a week and get trained in something else? There are so many ways to get out of toxic things. And so you just have to start using your mind to research instead of just being a victim to it. All the characteristics described were part of the behavior of the leaders of this religious group. Yeah, same with the religious group from my sister. Who was that group, Heaven's Gate? When that's all the people that put Nike tennis shoes on and drank acid. Was it they drank acid because they thought Halley's Comet was going to come and it was the end of the world? Do you know who those members were? They weren't just idiots. They were doctors. They were lawyers. They were dentists. These were highly intelligent people. So why would a cult leader have them put Nikes on, lay down in a bed and drink acid and die? That, my friends, is how powerful mind control is. It doesn't care how intelligent you are. It's a technique that they master to get you emotionally. That's how powerful it is. Jim Jones, look at that cult. I mean, we all think that mind control is these extreme, cults. No, it isn't. You could be mind controlled by a sibling. You could be mind controlled by one of your own children. That's right. Most people don't believe that. It happens. It just takes somebody that's a little bullyish, just a little bit control. They want control. They're not healthy. They want power. And when they squash you down a little, then they feel powerful. So remember that mind control happens in all areas of your life. All areas of your life. So it doesn't have to affect you. So start being neutral. Start using discernment. Now, what I like to do is my pen and paper. So I like to look at big beliefs. So now, some spiritual beliefs, really unhealthy. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write the word belief. All right. So everybody write the word belief. And then think of a belief that you have. What is there a belief that you have? And then write it down and then see if you can get to the neutral point of it. I do private readings. Let's see how, oh boy, I'm kind of booked up, but my private readings are $30 for 30 minutes. And let's see, I don't even have a place to book readings for me. Most of the times you have to go to, you can email me. I'll put my email, I'll type my email in here. $30 for 30 minutes, $30 for 30 minutes readings. T-Frog 11, that's been my thing for 20 some years. $30 for 30 minutes, and you can email me at tfrog11@yahoo if you want private readings. And so my first experience with people was my first boyfriend when you were 18, and thank God I realized what was gone and ended the relationship. Yes, anytime that you have the power to, now let's say you can't. Let's say that you're working a job and you don't have any way to get out and you're kind of somewhat trapped, all right? It's still a good technique to realize, okay, I'm being manipulated here, and now what do I have to do for steps to get myself out, to get a better paying job or to somehow save money, or, start looking for steps that you can get in there. But the first thing you're going to do is a belief, all right? So I'm trying to think, let's say I want to look at my spiritual belief, right? So let's say I have a spiritual belief that I am going to turn into, and this is a real belief out there, I'm going to turn into energy. This is a real belief, you guys. And what is that going to happen? And wake up in a new earth, in a new earth. And this is called ascension. All right. Now this is an actual spiritual belief. All right. This is actually out there. They're actually talking about this. You're going to turn into energy. You're going to wake up on a new earth. So you're going to ascend to this new earth. Dolores Cannon pushed this. There's a lot of people pushing this. And they said it's like Star Trek. You're going to just, float out of this body. And so my friend paid $5,000 to go down and study under Dolores Cannon. And she was convinced that on December 21st of 2012, the next day she was going to be floating up like Star Trek, right? And then she'd wake up on December 22nd and be in this new earth, peace. The food was healthy. The air was clean. She woke up on December 22nd and she was effing pissed. And she called Dolores Cannon an F. And then I said to her, the only way you're going to ascend from this physical body onto some planet that's not this planet is you're going to be dead. And it wasn't a few months later, and Dolores Cannon found herself dead. And I was like, whoa, she attached to that belief so literally that she died. And I wonder if she did go to her earth. I gotta ask, did Dolores Cannon end up on her new earth when she died? Did Dolores Cannon end up on her new earth when she died? Well, she was leaving this planet. Oh, wait, that's the moon up there, though. Well, she went somewhere. Well, let's find out what she thinks now. What does Dolores Cannon think now that she went to whatever planet she's on now? What does she think? Oh, she's okay with it. All right, well, that's good. She's okay where she is. That's cool, but she had to die to get there. Don't die to ascend. You don't want to die. So be careful. If that sounds really weird, like this body's just going to dissipate up and you're going to land the next day on a new earth, you might want to think about that. I never bought into that. When people tell me that, I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. Now, I do believe in parallel realities, like Bashar teaches, but I believe that you go there slowly at a time with this body. You don't leave the body. We're talking about emotional vulnerability, that's right, and we're talking about mind control, and we're going to get out of mind control. So I'm going to go back to my tarot cards, and I'm going to ask them, what is the next step? Yeah, you don't have to be afraid to die. We're all going to die sometime, so why fear it? It's the only way off the planet. Who gives a crap? You're alive right now, be alive. When you die, you'll be dead. It can't be that bad because everybody dies. There's no hell because in all the dead people I've talked to throughout the years, not one has been in hell. There's, not there. So we don't have to worry about that. That concept is, and what is hell going to do to you when you don't have a physical body? Ooh, burn me. How are you going to do that? I'm air. I'm invisible. Go ahead, burn me. It just makes no sense. Don't buy into that stuff. If it doesn't make pure common sense, then don't do it. Don't buy into it. Yes. Jehovah's Witnesses can be weird, There's a lot of religions that are harmless, and it's just a gathering of people. Nothing wrong with that, as long as they're not harmful in what they teach you. If they get culty, then I don't like them. All right, what's the next step for people to get out of mind control? We're asking the tarot cards. We're letting the tarot cards tell us. Pursue what brings you joy, but put somebody else's organization behind you. See this? He's not looking at all his emotional attachments. They're behind him. So if you have emotional attachments, put them behind you. If you're emotionally triggered by something and you're so triggered by a belief, stick it behind you. And you're going to be a lot more happy. When you stick that emotional attachments behind you, such as the attachment that, let's take this one. This is a good one. If you pray to Jesus, he's going to heal you. And so you're praying and all of a sudden you're not getting better. How do you think the people who pray to Jesus feel if they die? Well, then they got to make up excuses. Well, you were meant to die, or Jesus, didn't heal you. That doesn't feel good, right? And so be very careful with things like that. Well, you brought this sickness yourself. You're getting punished. That's narcissistic. There's parts of the Bible that are narcissistic because God punishes people. Well, if he created this race, he could have created a perfect race that didn't need punishing. So you could say, hey, God, you fucked up. You created humans that fuck up. So why punish them? You suck at creating humans, and you had to flood them out. Then you had to kill them with the plague. And then you had to fight the Israelites and make sure the Israelites won the war. And then you wanted the firstborn son to be drifted down the Nile River and killed, lambs to be sacrificed. So there's a lot of weird God stuff in the Bible. So you got to be careful of narcissism, because the people writing that Bible, that might not have been the true God. The true God might be an entity that's pure love, like what would make sense, and and would never punish you. Have you ever thought of that? So if you're really attached to the Bible, take the opposite of the Bible. Hey, what if the Bible is just a story written by men, and this divine God or whatever it is all love? What if that? What if I'm accepted no matter who I am? So that's what I mean about mind control. It comes in many forms. Get neutral. Get neutral on it so it can't control you. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Renata. Death is a part of life. Well, yeah, we're actually dead right now, because death is a short span of time, and life is eternal. So we're dead right now. Hey, dead people. Isn't it fun to be dead? Well, I don't know. I think the last time I was dead, it was better. So, you're born into eternal life, and you die into this world. It's the opposite. It's like, it's all messed up. So enjoy your death down here. Enjoy your death. Some parts of the Bible were removed. The book of Thomas, the book of Rebecca, a lot of books where women were powerful, taken out, because women were really powerful in the Bible. And they made Mary out to be a prostitute. She wasn't a prostitute. Back then, women had sex with lots of people. She was not a prostitute. That was like normal behavior back then. We had different society rules back then. Look at the cavemen. What were they? Did you put a label on the cavemen? Going around clubbing everybody and eating fruits and berries. And that was interesting. Interesting to be a caveman, right? Hell on earth, right? Yeah, the Bible was written by men because women weren't allowed to write. So you've got that lens of men on there. So here's how we can all be more happy. I'm going to grab a different deck here. Actually, let's ask the Fuck It deck. Let's see what the Fuck It deck has to say about mind control. All right, this is an oracle that you can buy on... I got a new website. Oh, should I give it out this week? Not quite yet. I have a brand new website. I'll give it out later in the week. I'll go live in the middle of next week, and we'll do readings because I missed tonight for readings. So I'll go live in the middle of the week, and I'll do readings for you guys, and I'll announce my new website. So what does the Fuck It deck have to say about mind control? This will be funny. What does the Fuck It deck have to say about mind control? Do it one fucking step at a time. That's brilliant. No, I shouldn't say that because I designed the deck. And it's after the Minor Eye Tarot. What the Fuck It deck is telling you is mind control is one step at a time. You don't just go from being mind controlled to non-mind controlled in one big, giant, easy step. It's one step at a time. And so the first thing is to be neutral on beliefs, recognize toxic beliefs. If you have any, be willing, be really brave to show up. And if you're really attached to a belief, then say, what if I was not attached to it? You got to be really brave to get out from under mind control. But then you're going to start having fun because nobody can control you. Not your spouse, not your parents, not your siblings, not your friends, not your job. You're going to be, woo, I'm free. And it's going to feel wonderful. When I got out from under mind control by an alcoholic marriage, the next husband that I met, so I had 2 alcoholic marriages. I'm not afraid to admit that. I was into picking unhealthy relationships. 2 alcoholic marriages. By the time I got my 3rd one, he doesn't drink a drop. Not that drinking's bad. I'm not judging drinking. But I broke that pattern of mind control, of being manipulated and drawing in unhealthy relationships. And it was the best thing I ever did. So one of my goals on my YouTube channels is to help people build resilience, because you are awesome. Every one of you, you're awesome. And you deserve to have the best life that life can even give you. And that's one of my goals in my channel is I'm passionate about helping each and every one of you see life differently and realize how powerful you are. And it's okay if you're stuck in an unhealthy situation. Don't judge yourself because that's not going to do you any good either. Just say, okay, I recognize this. And the fact you recognize it is the first step to healing it. The fact you even will recognize it is beautiful. It's the first step. Like the Fuck It deck said, one step at a time. So you guys can do this. And I'm going to ask the tarot cards what the last piece of advice is for you guys to really get resilient. Thank you, guys. To really get resilient. Here it is. Look at where your suffering is. Look at where your worries are. The Nine of Swords is somebody that just, face planting, right? They're suffering. So look at all the areas in life where you suffer. Is it relationship? Is it work? And is it people related? Is it that you're hard on yourself? Is it that you've been chinked away to the point where you don't have any self-esteem? So the Nine of Swords means be willing to look at the areas of life where you're suffering. For a long time, I had a belief when I was younger that no one wanted to be my friend. And that's because on the playground, all the kids would go play and they never asked me to play with them. And so I had this belief that I was, and that goes deep as you go into an adult. Because when I went to college then, I met a friend and she really wanted to be my friend. And I was like, why is she wanting to be my friend? You know, it's weird to get over that. That was and then I was so shy, I would have never come on here. I would have never put my face in front of a camera. That would have been, I was so shy in high school. I walked home to eat every day. I couldn't even eat at the cafeteria. Can you believe it? And I'm on YouTube now. That just goes to show you can conquer anything. You can conquer anything and it will be fine. It will be great. So we've all had a rough path. We've all had a rough path and we all will make it. No matter what, you're going to make it through this life and you're going to be fine. No matter what, you're going to be fine. So if you just tell yourself, I'm going to be fine, it's a process, accept where you are now. But if you can recognize mind control, so your homework this week, your homework is listen to the TV. Now you've been told that all news is fake, right? Most of us, we've been trained that. The media is all fake. So do a little research on what's on the media and then listen to what they're saying and then ask yourself, does it matter if it's fake or is it fake? And just see where you can take your research and also pay attention to what media, what news you feel good about and what news you're like, this isn't good. I want you to look at the news. How do the news people treat you? Are they treating the guests who are on with respect? Are they on there just whining and complaining and angry and so I want us all to just watch, the media with neutrality. That's our homework also, because that will be a good stomping ground for practice. Can you identify somebody who might be trying to manipulate you? TV, like commercials, are they trying to manipulate you into telling you something that's not true? So it'll be a good practice for us. Just don't get attached. Don't get emotionally like, bleh, stay neutral. No Fox News. Fox News might be a good place to practice. Are they spewing hate at people? Are they telling you to hate another group? If you watch a sermon, a church guy on TV, is he spewing hate or is he preaching people and teaching people how to love? I want you to really pay attention. Who's spewing to hate another group and who is like, let's heal and love? It's a good way to start. All right, you guys. That's our hour, and I want to thank you for allowing me to get this off my chest to try to do some mind control techniques with you. And I want to thank all of you for being my wall. Somewhere in the middle to, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere in there, I'll come on live. I'll put it on my community tab, and we will do solid readings, and it'll be about you. So get your questions ready, and I'll see you in the middle of the week, and we'll do readings, and we will have a boatload of fun. You guys are all 5-star awesome.